Welcome in, everybody. This is your self-care staffing for Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. I'm Lou Pascal. I'm the school social worker in the Manchester City Schools in Manchester, Tennessee. And for me and all of my Manchester City Schools peeps, it is spring break eve. And even though this is the least spring breaky feeling I've ever experienced in all the spring breaks in all my born days, facts are facts. It's almost spring break, y'all. We're about to make it. So I wanted to start today with an update on my hashtag quarantine goals list. I did this a couple of days ago with you guys. And so here's where I am in progress on those things. I said that I wanted to try to embrace the waviness of it all with my hair, and I was going to do that by reading a book called The Curly Girl Method, and according to my Kindle, I'm about 73% through that book. I also said that I wanted to take a Calligraphy 101 class on Blueprint, and that is BLUPRINT.com. And they are allowing free access to all of their classes. They're like crafty sort of classes. Originally, I think it was April 9th, and now I think it's through April 16th. And you don't have to enter a credit card. It's just your email address to get access. So I wanted to do a Calligraphy 101 class, and I'm about halfway through that. And then I also wanted to make my edible chocolate chip cookie dough recipe with all-purpose flour instead of whole wheat flour. And I did that last night, and it was delicious. So I'm well on my way to having accomplished some of those goals on my hashtag quarantine goals list. So today I want to talk about sleep as self-care, and I want to start by saying, I know some of you have young children. I know some of you are providing care for elderly relatives. Some of you may have very stressful jobs right now, and you may feel the weight of the world on your shoulders as you make tough decisions due to COVID-19, or because of COVID-19, something may have happened with your job and you may be losing sleep over that, or any number of worries that are prompted by the whole COVID-19 situation. So what I'm about to say, this is a safe space, and this is meant to be helpful. It's not meant to be judgmental. So please don't take this that you're doing something wrong. This is just, sometimes we're doing the best we can and just getting through it, and times are just hard. But please just take what you can from this that's helpful, leave the rest, and maybe you'll find something that is really beneficial to you in the things I'm about to say. So, what happens when we have a lack of sleep? For one thing, a lack of sleep has been a factor in some environmental disasters. So the 1979 nuclear accident at 3 Mile Island, a lack of sleep was cited as a factor in that. The Exxon Valdez oil spill, and also the 1986 nuclear meltdown at Chernobyl. Lack of sleep causes a lot of car accidents in the United States. And it is also linked to learning problems. So parents, if you feel like your student has a lot more potential than they are currently displaying academically, then I would evaluate their sleep. Evaluate how their sleep is going. Students, when you're getting ready to enter into testing, you always hear about how important your sleep is. It's always important, but especially around testing time, you're going to hear about sleep. So here's how lack of sleep can impact learning. It impairs attention, alertness, concentration, reasoning, and problem solving. So all of those things are very important to learning, and lack of sleep can affect all of those. Lack of sleep is also linked to symptoms of depression. It can cause your skin to look less healthy. That's why they call it your beauty sleep. It adjusts your body chemistry. It increases cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and it's related to your fight, flight, or freeze response. As I mentioned in a previous video, cortisol can suppress your immune system. So if you have an elevated incidents, many more incidents of cortisol being secreted than, you know, what's normal, then it can suppress your immune system, which can lead to you getting sick more often than you might otherwise. It also decreases the human growth hormone. Lack of sleep can also increase forgetfulness, so more sleep equals better memory. During sleep, your brain transfers information from the hippocampus to the neocortex, to the long-term memory. So it helps information that's kind of stored in your short-term memory move to your long-term memory so you can retain that longer. So that's definitely important in learning. Lack of sleep can also lead to weight gain, as my husband Caleb, the fitness trainer, said in the video about exercise. Ghrelin is a body chemical that stimulates hunger. Leptin is a chemical that signals the brain about when you're satiated, when you're full. So with a lack of sleep, your ghrelin increases, so your hunger increases or is more often, and leptin, which signals your brain that you're full, decreases. So you might not feel as full as you are, and you might be eating more. So what can you do? Some of the things that I thought about in putting this together is that, you know, when it's one of those days, sometimes I think early in the day that I'll just go back to bed and try again tomorrow. And my mom said many a time when I was growing up that all this will look better in the morning. And I think those things are both true. I think sometimes you just need that sleep to restore your body, restore your mind, and I think it does lead to a better frame of mind for you. It doesn't necessarily change your problems, but it just kind of equips you to think of better solutions, be calmer, all those kinds of things. So here's the quote, and this was Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, and he does a lot of work with preventing school shootings. He does a lot of research, and he's in that world. So his quote is, "Manage your sleep like you manage your money." And I know in another video we had a quote about managing your thoughts like you manage your money. And so both our thoughts and our sleep are precious resources to be handled wisely. So I found some tips for sleep on the National Sleep Foundation, and you guys probably have heard a lot of these before, but sometimes just hearing it that one more time and maybe a little bit of a different way helps us. So one of the tips was stick to a sleep schedule. So try to go to bed around the same time every night, even on the weekends. Try to get up close to around the same time in the mornings, even on the weekends. This regulates your body's clock. Practice a relaxing bedtime ritual. So getting away from the bright lights, any kind of ritual that you can have to get ready to go to sleep. It could be a cup of tea with chamomile in it. There's any number of sleep rituals that you could design for yourself. And that kind of going through that ritual tells your body it's time to get ready to shut it down, go to sleep. Exercise daily. I know Caleb Pascal will like that tip. Evaluate your room. So like really designing your sleep space, the temperature, trying to keep it cool. And this says between 60 and 67 degrees. You just kind of have to think about your own thermostat in your own house and where you like it to be. But if it can be cool in your bedroom that you sleep in, that's helpful for sleep. Also, free from any noise that can disturb your sleep. Consider using blackout curtains, eye shades, eye plugs, white noise machines, humidifiers, fans. So those are some things about noise that might make it a little bit easier to sleep, maybe blocking out noise, that kind of stuff. Discontinue the use of electronics, phones, tablets, computers, at least an hour, if not more, before you attempt to go to sleep. There's been a lot of information about what the blue lights do and how that prevents you from being able to go to sleep. So that's another one, parents. If you think your child is not getting enough sleep, check those devices. Because I think our students sometimes just can stay up for hours and hours and hours, whether it's the phone or the Xbox or the PlayStation or whatever. You might need to exercise some authority over some of that stuff and have a cutoff time, or take those things out of their room and see how that impacts their sleep. Here's a good one. If you can't sleep, go into another room and do something relaxing until you feel tired. So go into another room. Do not get on your phone. Do not get on your computer. Do not get on your electronics, but go into another room. I've seen people say, like, just laying in bed and basically being worried about not being able to sleep is detrimental. So get up, go to another room, try something else, read something, some other relaxing activity until you feel like you can go to sleep, okay? So those are sleep tips from the National Sleep Foundation. You can also, I also found on the National Sleep Foundation a sleep diary, like a paper sleep diary, and I will share that. I will link that on the comments, but I'm sure that you might actually want to use this sleep diary. It's just, you know, this kind of talks about sleep a little bit, and then it actually, you know, has an area for you to kind of chart what your sleep looks like. But I know a lot of us have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or some sort of sleep app on our phones that kind of measures our sleep. So if you don't want to do the paper sleep diary, check the data on your device, watch, app, whatever, and see what that says about your sleep. So those are things we can do to improve our sleep. So I'm about to wrap it up for the day. So here's some things that I want to leave with you for today. The self-care check-in question would be, how is your sleep? And again, you can check your device, watch, app, or you can do a sleep diary if you really don't think you have a good idea of how your sleep is, or if you think you're overestimating how good it is. You might want to look into that data and see. So that's your self-care check-in question. How is your sleep? What's the quality of your sleep right now? And a follow-up self-care check-in question would be, what can you do to improve your sleep? So think of some things you could do to improve your sleep. So for laughs, this is another one of those, again, maybe not haha funny, probably not haha funny because it's supposed to put you to sleep, but quirky, and it just sort of amuses me. It is, there is a podcast, and the whole goal is to help you get to sleep, and it's called Sleep With Me Podcast. And I think I listened to just a little bit of it before I started the video. And even the part where they do the credits, where they talk about who all the people that help make the podcast, they give those names to you in a lullaby. The whole podcast he describes as a bedtime story. And I really think, just from listening to a little snippet of it, I think he just sort of goes on tangents and never really finishes a thought. And if you're sleepy, you just kind of lose the thread and drop off into dreamland. So, Sleep With Me podcast. I will link that in the comments for you if you would like to try that. And the song that I chose today is Norah Jones. It's called The Long Day Is Over. And it doesn't say anything about sleep, I don't think. But it's a good kind of end of the day, mellow, wind it down kind of song. So I'll link that for you too. It's one of my favorites. I really like it. And just a reminder that I will not be doing videos tomorrow, Friday, April 3rd, or next week, April 6th through the 10th, because it's spring break, as I mentioned. And so I just encourage you guys, try some self-care tips next week, especially if you are on spring break, whether you're in Manchester City schools or somewhere else in the country or the world. I just would encourage you, you can go back and watch these videos. They're on YouTube. Get some self-care tips. Maybe make yourself a #quarantine goals list and try some self-care tips this week. I don't think that I'm going to be able to do these videos on YouTube Live because I tried it the other day and it seemed like it cut off in the middle or something like that. So that may just be beyond my skill level. But I'm going to continue to make videos, like I said, through the school closures, which for me and my particular school system, again, you know, tomorrow and next week are spring break. And I think we're closed for 2 weeks after that. So I will be back with videos on Monday, April 13th, and we'll keep going. At this time, we're supposed to return to school on Monday, April 27th, but it's a day-by-day thing, and you know, with this particular situation, things could be very different by tomorrow or 30 minutes from now. Who knows? So those are my reminders for you about when we'll be back with more videos. And again, try some self-care tips next week, tomorrow and next week. And if all hearts and minds are clear, I will see you guys on Monday, April 13th, and try to get some good sleep and take good care. Bye.